When you think about Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, it's so easy to picture the fairies as just, some whimsical background decoration. But what if that's completely wrong? What if they're actually the true architects of the entire story, the masterminds behind all the chaos and the final happily ever after?
And that's really the big question we're digging into here. Are these fairies just mischievous spirits out for a good laugh, or are they actually cunning manipulators with a very specific plan? The truth, as it turns out, is a pretty fascinating mix of both.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll kick things off with a lover's problem back in Athens. Then we'll get into the different kinds of fairy magic going on. We'll watch how that magic creates absolute chaos, see how the fairies then clean up their own mess, and finally, look at how they bless the new world that they've helped create.
Okay, let's dive right in. Before a single fairy even steps on stage, love in the very rigid, very lawful world of Athens is, well, it's already a complete and utter mess.
As Lysander famously says, love is never easy. And for these characters, it's actually dangerous. Hermia's father gives her an impossible choice: marry Demetrius, a man she doesn't love, or be executed. Her only other option is to become a nun. I mean, the stakes could not be higher. And again, this is all before a single drop of magic enters the picture. So, when the lovers run off into the forest, they aren't just leaving the city. They're walking straight into the fairies' domain. And the fairies, they're not just going to sit back and watch. Oh no, they step in as active agents of change, ready to take all that human drama and crank it up to 11, showing us just how fragile mortal love really is.
But to really get what happens next, we have to understand that not all fairy magic is created equal. It's actually really important to see the two very different kinds of power at work in this forest. On one side, you've got playful mischief, and on the other, cold, calculated manipulation.
So, on one hand, there's Puck. He's your classic trickster, just loves a good prank. But on the other hand, you have his master, Oberon, the fairy king. And let me tell you, he uses magic not for fun, but as a weapon to get exactly what he wants. Puck's whole deal is being the shrewd and knavish sprite. He absolutely loves causing these little bits of chaos in the human world. Spoiling the butter so it won't churn, messing with the beer, pulling a stool out from under someone just to watch them tumble. It's all spontaneous, it's a little bit mean, but mostly it's just for a laugh.
Oberon, though, is playing a much more serious game. His weapon of choice is the juice from this flower, love in idleness, and his goal is anything but playful. He's planning to use it on his own wife, Queen Titania, to humiliate her so badly that she'll give him what he wants. This isn't a prank, this is straight-up magical coercion.
And this right here is where things get really wild. Puck's love of mischief is about to crash head-on with Oberon's manipulative plan, and the result? It's a perfect storm of chaos for our poor, unsuspecting mortals.
It's just this brilliant comedy of errors. The plan was supposed to be simple. Oberon tells Puck to use the potion on an Athenian guy, Demetrius, to make him fall for Helena. Easy enough, right? Wrong. Puck, in his classic Puck way, finds the wrong Athenian and puts the juice on Lysander's eyes instead. So, to fix it, Oberon has Demetrius enchanted too. And just like that, one little mistake snowballs into absolute pandemonium.
The fallout is just disastrously funny. All of a sudden, both Lysander and Demetrius are madly in love with Helena, who is convinced this is all some cruel prank they're playing on her. And poor Hermia? She gets left in the dust, totally despised by the two men who were just fighting over her. Lifelong friendships are just shattered, and the guys are literally ready to kill each other.
And here's the crucial part. While these mortals are going through absolute heartbreak and betrayal, Puck is just watching from the sidelines, having the time of his life. For him, all this intense human drama is just spectacular entertainment. It is the best show in the forest. But here's the twist. Just as quickly as they create all this chaos, the fairies prove they are also masters of restoring order. Their role completely flips, from agents of chaos to agents of concord.
So once the chaos hits its absolute peak, Oberon basically decides the show is over and tells Puck to fix everything. And the solution is incredibly systematic. Puck whips up a magical fog to separate the rivals, leads them on a wild chase until they pass out from exhaustion, and then, boom, applies the antidote to Lysander. When they all wake up, it's like the whole nightmare never even happened. Order is perfectly restored.
And this part is so fascinating.
The play describes Demetrius's new, magically induced love for Helena as a return to his natural taste. Now think about that. It suggests the fairy magic wasn't just random chaos. Maybe it was a necessary magical course correction that sorted everyone into their correct pairings.
And the fairies don't just fix the problem and then disappear. At the very end, their work isn't truly done until they've put their official, magical stamp of approval on the new social order they helped create.
So the play doesn't end with one wedding, but with a massive celebration of 3. You've got the royals, Theseus and Hippolyta, you have Lysander and Hermia, finally together, and now, thanks to a little magical help, you've got Demetrius and Helena. All of that chaos has finally resolved into this triple celebration of love.
And who's there, presiding over this happy ending, unseen by the mortals? The fairies. Oberon and Titania, their own fight now over, show up to give a final blessing. They promise the couple's lasting, faithful love, good fortune, and healthy children, putting a final magical seal on their new lives together.
So, what does it all mean? Well, in a way, the fairies acted like a purifying fire. They had to break love down to its most chaotic, irrational state. They had to expose all its fragility, just so they could rebuild it. The love that comes out at the end is stronger, it's more balanced, and it has been tested by magic itself. Which leaves us with one last question to think about. Were the fairies just a destructive force, playing with mortals for their own amusement? Or was all that meddling, all the confusion and the heartache actually a necessary process to get love right, to untangle all the knots and lead everyone to their true happy ending? What do you think?